You now know how to navigate through a project and make basic changes to the controls on your pages. Using the Toolbox, you can add controls to your pages by simply dragging and dropping them. First, open the My Project sample file from your Sample Files folder. Next, open the HTML code of mypage.aspx and switch to Design View. You may have noticed that the Solution Explorer and Properties window both have the same pin icon in the top right corner of their windows. This button switches on and off Auto Hide. When Auto Hide is switched on, the window will automatically minimize away from the screen when it is not in use. By auto-hiding your windows, you can get a large, unobstructed view of the main window. Remember that you can always reset your window layout to the default by clicking Window, Reset Window Layout. To display the toolbox, click the Toolbox icon in the top left of the screen. Next, click the Auto Hide icon in the toolbox. This will stop the toolbox from overlapping your page and stop it from disappearing automatically. Next, expand the Standard category in the toolbox if it isn't already expanded. The Standard category contains the most commonly used controls. Next, you're going to add a button to the page. To do this, simply click and drag a button control from the toolbox onto your page, underneath the text you added earlier. A new button control has been created called Button 1. Switch to Source View now. You're now going to add a text box control in Source View. In exactly the same way as you did with the button, drag a text box control from the toolbox and drop it just before the line that contains the button. Some code is added to your page for the new text box control. If you're familiar with HTML, you have probably noticed that the objects beginning with ASP are unfamiliar. This is because they are ASP.NET controls. As you heard earlier, HTML is a language understood by web browsers. However, these ASP lines aren't valid HTML code, so a browser cannot understand them. When an ASPX web page is requested by a web browser, ASP.NET controls are converted into valid HTML code by the web server before they are sent to the browser. You will learn more about this in Lesson 3.1. Switch back to Design View now. You can see that the new text box control has been inserted before the button. Next, you're going to add an HTML control to the page. To do this, collapse the Standard category in the toolbox and expand the HTML category. Then, drag an Input Reset control onto the page just after your button. Finally, you're going to add a Calendar control. You'll find it in the Standard category of the toolbox. Try to place it just before your text box. Save your changes and close Visual Studio. You've now completed Lesson 1.14, Add Controls to a Page with the Toolbox.